My name is Brent O'Leary. I'm the president of the board of Woodside on the Move, and we are honored to be able to host this remembrance today and be part of such a wonderful community which has been striving to make sure that all the people who were lost are remembered and all the families and the communities can heal well. So I welcome you today to our 9/11 Day of Remembrance, remembering the innocent and brave lives lost during September 11, 2001. It was 21 years ago today, on Monday, when our nation was ripped asunder, when lives were lost, when families were ripped apart, and it's a day that we'll never forget. I think it's very fitting that we're here at Doughboy Plaza, which is remembering our soldiers from World War I, because there are many things that our community needs, and it's brave men and women like our New York's finest here who are willing to sacrifice themselves, and families which are willing to have them offer that sacrifice so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we need in this country. So first, I'd like to thank a few of our partners here. We are in partnership with St. Sebastian's Catholic War Veterans. We have our elected officials who have sent their representatives. So we have Assembly Member Brian Barnwell here, representatives from Congresswoman Grace Meng, from Councilwoman Julie Juan, and from State Senator Michael Gianaris. So we're going to have a few people speak tonight, including our Reverend and the battalion captain, and have a few remarks. But I just want to, on behalf of everybody, thank you, and thank you for remembering the people. Thank you for helping the families heal. Thanking you for this community coming together and making sure we can do this. And I'd like to give a special thank out to Ed Bergendahl and Gemma Bihari. They started this many years ago, and they fought to keep it going. And then even through COVID and 9/11, they've made sure that we all come together, have a place to remember once a year. And we're going to be reading some of the names because this community lost a lot. As you can see, there's 40 names here of people just connected to this community who we lost and can never be replaced. So I thank you again, and I'd like to start off our ceremony with an invocation. So I'd like to ask Reverend Patrick West to give our invocation.
Thank you, Brent. Just before I begin, I'm a Catholic priest, but on Sunday, 9/11, in my homily, I referred to Moses. And Moses, before entering into the promised land, told his people, remember the statutes and decrees that I enjoin on you today. Not only remember them, but teach them to your children and to your children's children. If we do not teach them to the children, to the children's children, then they are forgotten. And so Sunday morning before Mass, one of the altar servers, 11 years old, came up to me and said, Father, this is a sad day. I'm trying to think, what is he talking about? He's got a full day of school tomorrow, whatever. Then he said, it's September 11th. I was proud of him. September 11th is a day that we should never forget. We should teach our children and our children's children so that the memories of all of those innocent people whose lives were taken from them, whether they be in airplanes, office buildings, or the Pentagon, we will never forget. And for the firefighters and the first responders, all of those who served to help and to save lives. Their service, their selflessness, their bravery is something that should never be forgotten. And so in prayer, we remember. Loving God, to remember is a holy thing. We remember your goodness to us, but our remembering should also remind us of the presence of evil, and the effect of evil in our lives. But we remember also the redemptive power of your love that can bring good, your love that can restore life, your love that can help us to love one another. We ask your blessing upon those whose lives were taken from them on September 11th, 21 years ago, that they live forever in your peace. We pray that the gift of your Spirit may lead, guide, and protect more than anything else those who continue to protect and to serve. And to bless us, Lord, with that grace that helps us to express the redemptive power of your love so that our lives may bring peace everywhere we go. We ask this in the name of the God who loves us and say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. And now, so we always honor and remember the principles that those died for and that we serve. I'd like everybody to sing our national anthem. If anyone needs, the words are in the bulletin here. I'm not a singer, so everyone's gonna go. Now it's my pleasure to bring up our Chief Battalion Commander of the Fire Department, Chief Brian Winston.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out and joining us, especially the veterans that are here. Appreciate your service. It's been 21 years since that tragic day, and it's nice to still see crowds coming out together year after year to remember the lives that we lost on 9/11/2001. In the fire department, we make the promise to never forget our members or their families. 2,977 innocent people were killed that day. And when we come together as a community like this, it goes a long way in preserving the legacy on their behalf. So, many of those who were lost were first responders. In the fire department, we had 343 members. In the New York City Police Department, there were 23 members. And in the Port Authority Police Department, there was 37 members. These members were killed in the line of duty serving the people of the city. And that sadness will always be in our heart. But unfortunately for us, all the lives lost didn't end on 9/11. There's still many of our members get sick from World Trade related illnesses, which are a direct result of working tirelessly on the recovery and rescue effort that went on for days, weeks, and months after. So to remember these people and their families is humbling on behalf of the department. Um, Basically, as time moves on, as a department, we make a vow to never forget, and the families and the members, and we hope that you join us to reflect constantly and to renew your vow to never forget, not just today, but tomorrow and always. Thank you very much, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your service. Now I'd like to call up one of our elected officials, and as Assembly Member Brian Barnwell.
Thanks, Brent. I want to thank Woodside on the Move and Steve Raga as well. Steve and I had a conversation a year or two ago. We noticed in Woodside that there wasn't an event, and we thought that was frankly ridiculous. So Steve and I last year was a little smaller event, but hopefully every year we keep building. So thank you Woodside on the Move for partnering and doing that. Obviously, it's very important. So 21 years is a tough time. I've been to a couple of these throughout the week, throughout the district, about seeing people bring up flowers, bring up different things to remember people. And you see the pain in their eyes and tears in their eyes because yes, we come together once a year, and it's tough, but these people have delivered every single day of their lives. What they lost. And then also you start to see now grandkids, right? Little kids who never got to meet their grandparents at all. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. You have people who lost and they remember, and people who never got to have that. And it's just, you can explain 9/11 in one word, it'd just be almost unfair is a good word. But what makes our flag go up every day is dedication and service by people. You saw it on that day. You saw firefighters, first responders, NYPD. You saw them save people's lives, but then you also saw everyday people who just worked there, risking their neck to save people. And that's what makes our country great, and that's what always has made our country great. We've always had people willing to answer the call to service. So I thank you all for coming. I thank you all as well. My cousin was a firefighter. He's on there, Teddy White. Um, Engine 230 in Brooklyn. Normal guy, likes the Rangers, likes sports, and now his kid, who he barely knew, is going to law school. Actually, interned in our office, and I don't know if you knew that. Taylor. But God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Barnwell. And I think we're going to have a few words from our council member, Julie Juan.
Good evening. I just want to give a special thanks to Woodside on the Move for hosting, as well as the FDNY for being present. I thank you for all the community members that are here to commemorate in remembrance of this of September 11th. I know that when I think back of September 11th, I know all of us have vivid memories as a core memory because it is a day that we truly will never forget. I remember I was sitting in elementary school and my teacher rolled in one of those carts with a TV on top, and she turned on the TV and we could see in the news on television of the Twin Towers collapsing. And all of us looked around because we had parents, students in my classroom who had parents who were working in the city, in the Twin Towers, as well as downtown in Friday. And as a child, I couldn't even comprehend what was happening. And looking back today, the image that I think of is that photograph of the FDNY firemen putting the American flag on the site. And that image will always stay with me, especially when I see all of you in the community, when I see you standing by us, always making sure that all of our families are protected, that every single home, every single apartment, that it is in such good care of you. And I am so grateful for your service, and I thank you for being here. I thank you for all that you do, and I just want to continue to commemorate the lives that we have lost. And all of your service is not forgotten or taken for granted. I thank you again for the day to day that you do, risking your lives for our health and wellness, especially for children like my son. And I thank you so much for that. Thank you for organizing, and thank you for all the families for being here.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to have a few words from a representative from Congresswoman Meng's office, Evelyn Lee.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Well, unfortunately, the Congresswoman cannot be here today herself, but she did want me to represent her here today and to say a few words to pay her respect. September 11 shall forever be in our memory as we honor the lives of those tragically taken that day and the first responders who were so brave and selfless to save others. Grace is committed to supporting efforts that honor this day, such as help to pass legislation that memorializes September 11 in NYC, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and help to pass legislation that fully pays for all 9/11 compensation claims, and help secure federal funds for the September 11 memorial and museums in NYC. And I want to assure you that Grace will continue her efforts to make sure we remember those people who lost their lives on that tragic day, and also to keep helping those people whose lives were forever changed because of that day. And lastly, we would like to thank everyone here who helped put this event together that allows us to still remember this day 21 years later, which is very necessary. And thank you all, and we will never forget this day. God bless America.
Thank you very much. And now we have a representative from State Senator Michael Gianaris' office, Alexander Marion.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Alexander Marion. I'm here on behalf of State Senator Michael Gianaris. And first of all, let me just thank Woodside on the Move for putting this on every year and for their constant efforts. They are always our first phone call. I also want to thank the members of the New York City Fire Department who are here for your ongoing service, and our veterans who are here today for the service they have given to our country. I was with Senator Gianaris over the weekend at another one of these ceremonies in Maspeth. And what struck him and struck me the most was how many really small children were there. And as we were there and we were talking to folks, I learned that they are the grandchildren of firefighters and police officers and people who were killed on September 11th. And I was struck by what Father Patrick said about how, there is a new generation that does not have September 11th in living memory like I believe most people here do. And we have a sacred obligation to teach them. We have a sacred obligation to teach them not only that individual vulnerability, I think every New Yorker especially, and every American felt that day, but we have an obligation to teach them the collective responsibility to help others, to remember the example of our first responders who ran towards a crisis, not knowing what was going to happen, because they just knew they needed to help other people. We need to teach them the collective response that people had when they donated that dollar to the Red Cross, when they donated food, when they provided shelter for first responders who came from other cities and other states to help. And that's the lesson that we need to impart on that next generation. And that is the obligation that we have every single day while we are able to impart that living memory on people who do not have that. It is the least we can do, and it is what we owe those who gave so much on that day years ago. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Alexander. Now we're going to have a few words from our Assembly Member-elect, Juan Ardilla.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I want to thank folks from Woodside on the Move, our firefighters for joining us today, all our community residents to commemorate the loss of what happened 21 years ago. I will speak for myself when I say I remember this day being in the third grade where our teacher was explaining, just as Julie, we were at elementary school, and our teacher was explaining to us what was happening. We were all confused, and as the day went on, we saw news, things that were happening throughout the day, and parents picking up children one by one, just trying to hold their loved ones again, trying to make sure their families could stay together. And ever since that day, we have the opportunity to see our parents. I can see my mom, I can see my dad, and so many people lost that privilege. So many people lost loved ones, so many people lost cousins, relatives, friends, neighbors. And now, as we come together 21 years later, the pain never stops. We never forget what happened, but we move forward in a way to unite people. As Brian said, we come together once a year, but people feel this pain permanently. And so we honor that. We do our best to honor that every single day. We cherish every day that we get to spend with our loved ones because you never know when could be the last time you see them. So just make sure you hold them extra tight, make sure you tell them you love them, and make sure that you do everything possible to live your life to the fullest. I thank our first responders for all the work that you do across the city, across our state, because it's not easy to do what you do. But we are here for you and we will support you in the best way possible. Thank you.
And now, our last speaker, we're going to have a few words from our Community Board 2 Chairman, Maury Galdon.
I just want to take a moment to say, first of all, thank you to our first responders, our firefighters, who every day are out there on the front lines, supporting us, taking care of us, protecting us, saving us. I want to just take a moment to reflect on how we think about commemorating 9/11. A lot of times we think about loss, we think about patriotism, but I want to think about it in a little bit of a different way. And mainly, it's about commemorating our everyday heroes, and those heroes are our first responders. There are folks like John Bahia from Woodside on the Move who helped coordinate this. There are civic leaders and all of you who come out here to remember what happened on that day. But it's not just about what happened on 9/11, it's about the amazing response that we all had for the most part, and how we came together as a community, no matter what our backgrounds were, what our religions were, what our race and creed, whatever. We came together as New Yorkers, as Americans, and the world looked upon us and saw and wanted to help us. And every day I think about how can I help my community. And I know all of you are like that as well. And so I think what we can take away from this, because we always talk about we must remember, we must not forget. Why? Because we have a way of life, we have a democracy, and we want to protect and ensure that we have the right and the freedom to speak. And we want to remember all those lives that were lost, and may those memories of those people be for a blessing, as they say in the Jewish religion when they commemorate or remember someone. May the memory be for a blessing. So don't forget our stories. We have to keep telling our individual stories, because that's another part of commemorating, sharing the stories. And that's what we are. This whole American experiment, we can look at as a way to perpetuate it is sharing our stories. So thank you all. Thank you for your service. Thank you, first responders. Thank you, community, civic leaders, and thank you all who every day get up and try to make our community, our city, our state, our country a better place, and our world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Maury. And now I'm going to hand the mic over to our organizer, John Bahia, who is going to do the moment of silence, the lighting of the candles, and the reading of the names.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you to everybody that came here today in our Day of Remembrance, Woodside. Now I please ask all of us to observe a brief moment of silence in remembrance of the brave and innocent lives lost during the September 11 attacks. We'll dedicate 1 minute of silence in honor of these lives. Let's start. 1 minute has passed. Let us now all light our candles in remembrance of our fallen community members, and in that we may forever have the memory in our hearts and in our minds. So please proceed lighting up your candles by simply turning on the switch at the bottom, right over here. Now I call on my colleague Benjamin Kim, who will read the names of our lost but never forgotten community members. Benjamin, please.
Thank you, John. I shall now proceed to read the names of those from our community that we so tragically lost on 9/11. Thomas Ashton, firefighter Michael Emmett Brennan, Fire Marshal Ronald Bucca, Fire Marshal Michael Cawley, firefighter Vernon Cherry, Mohammed Chowdhury, Digna Costanza, Battalion Chief Thomas DeAngelis, Fire Lieutenant Kevin Dowdle, Battalion Chief Ray Downey, I will be ringing the bell after every 10 minutes. Firefighter Terrence Farrell, Firefighter Thomas Gambino, Firefighter Matthew Garvey, Clarabelle Hernandez, Noberto Hernandez, Fire Captain Brian Hickey, Firefighter Scott Larson, Yi Wei Liang, Firefighter Bill Mahoney, Firefighter William Mahoney, Firefighter Thomas Joseph McCann, Firefighter Robert Dismiss McMahon, Firefighter Robert Minara, Carlos Mario Munoz, Firefighter Peter Nelson, Gerald O'Leary, Firefighter Darrell V. Pearsall Jr., Thomas Petticini, Firefighter Alan Tarshowitz, Arthur Warren Scullin, Norma Tadai, Firefighter Sergio Villanueva, Firefighter Lawrence Virgilio, Teddy White, Firefighter Edward J. White, Donna Wilson, Liam Callahan, Firefighter Thomas Patrick Cullen III, Fire Deputy Chief Raymond Downey, and firefighter Lawrence Virgilio. May we remember them forever. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. You know, this is really a special community, and that's really what this is about community. It's about everybody doing their part to support and uplift each other, and making sure that nobody in our community is forgotten and that people can grieve. People grieve in different ways, and I know this helps the families to know that the sacrifice that they've lived through is not forgotten, especially in their neighborhood. And again, we'll thank Ed Bergendahl, who was the heart and soul of this. Unfortunately, he passed, but we do this in his honor. Who also served proudly in the Korean War and ran the Civic in Woodside to make sure that everybody was taken care of here. So, on behalf of Woodside on the Move, I thank you. We will keep doing this. We will keep making sure that everybody is remembered and honored, and that we support each other in our neighborhood. Lastly, please, if you'd like, stay around. Our great community leader, Frank Amanelli, has brought us some food. So if you'd like to stay and talk, we'd love to have you stay here. So I'm going to close this out by asking our other heart of this event, Gemma Bihari, who has been keeping this going for many years, to come up and say a word to close us out.
For giving me your support. It's right there, son. God bless America.
Thank you, everybody. God bless America. Treat each other well.